The movie begins in the highest room of a medieval stone tower. A princess lies in bed. She looks peaceful, dressed in fine clothes, surrounded by roses, warmed by the soft glow of a furnace. But beneath that calm, a nightmare stirs. When she opens her eyes, confusion clouds her mind. Her hands are locked in iron shackles. A sharp ache throbs at the back of her head. Her memory is foggy. How did she end up here? Her vision blurs. The room seems to sway until slowly it comes into focus. No guards, no one in sight. Her legs are free, a small mercy. She moves, testing her bonds, looking for escape. But there's only an open window, and far below, a violent sea crashes against the rocks. Across the room, a closed door. Behind it, muffled voices, growing louder, panic rising. She slips back into bed, faking sleep. The guards enter, seeing what they expect. A sleeping princess.
So this is the princess.
I haven't been close to the princess before.
Yeah, there's a reason for that.
One steps closer, ignoring his partner's warning. But it's too late. With all her strength, she smashes her forehead into his face. A sickening crack. A scream, not of fear, but of fury, as she breaks her own thumb to slip from the cuff. Now free, she grabs the chain, swinging it like a flail, turning her restraint into a weapon. But that's not all. Hidden in her hair, a stiletto pin. She drives it into a guard's face, forcing him back until he crashes down. The second guard lunges. But she's no helpless prisoner. She grabbed the blade from his fallen comrade, strikes, slicing his cap, then his shoulder. But he doesn't fall. The knife stays buried in his shoulder, and she clings to the hilt. He tries to shake her loose, but she tightens the chain around her fist, raining brutal blows on his face. Each punch heavy, each punch fueled by rage. She drives him toward the window. He mocks her.
You think you're gonna make it all the way to the bottom?
Dares her to jump, but she's not the one who'll fall.
I'll see you there.
One hard kick, and he plunges into the sea below. No time to breathe. Another guard bursts in. She snatches a hammer and charges, beating him down, taking his keys, freeing her other wrist. She cleans herself up as best she can, locks the door behind her, and tosses the keys aside. She reaches another room, heart pounding. Through the window, chaos unfolds below. Guards lock down the castle entrance. A crowd stands at the mercy of Julius and his enforcer, Moira. The royal family has fallen. The king's pleas for peace, for diplomacy, ignored.
We trusted you.
You talk to me about trust.
You can't have my sister.
I will marry your sister because I always get what I want.
Julius has other plans. He will marry the princess, rule with a harsh, unyielding hand, fix what he sees as the king's weakness with power. With fear, as her family is dragged away, guilt floods her. With no male heir, she'd been promised to Julius. The king had reminded her of that as he walked her to the altar. But she couldn't do it. She left Julius standing there, and everything spiraled into blood and ruin. Now, hidden in silence, she watches as a giant enters the room. Oblivious, he relieves himself, admiring his reflection. She hides in a tub of water, holding her breath, bubbles rising as she fights to stay still. At last, he leaves. She bursts from the water, gasping, soaked and cold. The dress weighs her down. She tears off the heavy layers and moves on. But fate isn't done. In the hallway, the giant again. His sword massive, his skin thick, strength against skill. She holds him off, finds an opening, uses his power against him. She climbs onto his shoulders, rips off his horned helmet, drives a horn into his back, smashes his head with a helmet until he crumples. The moment stirs a memory. A little girl dreaming of becoming a warrior. Her mother, pregnant, had wanted a son, didn't approve of her daughter training like a soldier. But Lynn convinced the queen to let her learn. Just don't tell the king. Down at the shore, the guard's body washes up. Soldiers drag it to Julius. The captain thinks the man fell, but Moira sees the bruises. She knows better. Julius doesn't like loose ends. He orders someone to check on the princess. But the captain, cowardly, shifts the task to another, someone unfit for the climb. In the tower, the princess catches her breath. Two thieves burst in. She acts fast, grabs a broken post, stabs the first. The second lunges, but she's faster. She rips the lace from her corset, binds him to a pillar, swift and precise. A crossbow. She finds it, aims it, demands answers about her family. But the thief mocks her, thinks she won't fire. He's wrong. The other thief stirs. She spins, fires, no hesitation. The body drops. The tied thief is still defiant, still talking. She ends it. One clean shot. No answers. But she leaves with his sword. The tower crawls with guards, scavenging for spoils. She moves like a shadow. Carefully, she avoids every patrol, slipping through the tower's dark veins. Above, the heavy-set guard slumps on a window ledge, wheezing, trying to catch his breath halfway up the stairs. What he doesn't see, what no one sees, is the princess clinging to the outside of that very ledge. Her fingers grip tight, the sea and jagged rocks yawning below. The sword she carries, the weight is too much. She lets it go, watches it tumble, far beneath her. When the guard resumes his slow, labored climb, she pulls herself back inside. Breathless, determined, she moves again, silent as a shadow, weaving through narrow corridors, dodging men too distracted by their stolen spoils to notice her. Julius has no idea. His men feast and steal behind his back. She slips into a chamber just as a few guards leave. This room, she knows it well. Without hesitation, she crosses to a hidden spot. Her fingers find it, a blade only she would know was there. As she lifts it, old memories stir. The forest. Training with Lin, not just to fight, but to fight with heart, not rage. To test her, Lin had brought in Kai, the king's advisor, her own former mentor. Kai, the man who had once trained Lin herself, now stood as the final measure of the princess's skill. She held her ground. She fought with purpose. And when the bout was done, Kai placed this very sword in her hands, a gift and a promise.
I would only entrust it to the hands of true warrior.
She straps on a belt, boots, her delicate shoes left behind, now armed and ready. She listens. Julius's voice drifts through a narrow passage. Carefully, silently she follows it, finds a small crack in the wall, peers through. There he is, with Mora. Not just allies, lovers. Julius can't seize the kingdom by force. Not openly, not before the nobles. To claim power, he must marry the princess, pretend to honor tradition. And the moment the crown rests on his head, the king will die. A royal murder disguised as ceremony. A proposal backed by blades. Now the princess has her answers. Moira leans closer, her words thick with passion and ambition. She whispers of seizing the throne, guiding Julius's lips to hers, pulling him in. Their moans echo softly. The princess sees her chance. Clever, quick. She sets a trap behind the wall, right where she predicts the lovers will drift. Carves out a narrow hole, her blade inches from Julius's head. The moment could have ended it all. But a knock at the door, a guard. The king requests Julius. Moira, annoyed, torn, but satisfied progress is being made. She pulls away. Meanwhile, the guard sent to check on the princess finally reaches the top of the tower. Gasping for breath, he peers through the keyhole. A guard slouched in a chair. The princess, still in bed, satisfied. He begins the long walk down, ready to report. The princess, deep in enemy territory, moves unseen. The halls crawl with guards, but they're distracted, looting, not watching. Below, the king meets Julius. Calm, steady. He urges Julius to reconsider, warns him this path will turn the people against him. But Julius stands unmoved. His grievance burns. It all began, he says, with the princess, her refusal, her defiance, her betrayal. High above, the princess slips through a narrow window, crawls along a ledge, and drops between the legs of a massive armor guard. She thinks just another giant status, until his sword pins her clothing to the floor. She's caught off guard, but survival takes over. She dodges wild swings, blade clashing against steel. Sparks fly. Her strikes leave no mark. Then an opening, the armpit unguarded. She strikes once, twice, 3 times. Precise, deadly. Seizing a lit candle, she hurls it. The oil-soaked armor erupts in flames. Below, the meeting ends in failure. Julius is resolute. As he turns to leave, The out-of-shape guard arrives, reports the princess is safe in her room. And at that moment, the burning corpse of the armored guard crashes at Julius's feet. Fury explodes across Julius's face. He orders Kur end this madness, but Kur won't get the chance. As Julius steps away, Mora speaks boldly, a theory, an idea. Kur mocks her, calls her a harlot, dismisses her as nothing. Mora answers with her whip. It snaps across his throat. Blood pours. He falls. Still, without pause, Mora steps over his body, takes command. Find the intruder. Finish her. No more chances. The princess feels the walls closing in. Troops scatter, searching for her. Panic rises. Fear drives her forward. She runs, but escape is blocked. 3 fighters close in. She's slashed across the arm, but she doesn't stop. 2 fall, quick, clean strikes, throat after throat. The third goes down as she breaks past them, but the numbers grow. The enemy overwhelms. Then, a desperate gamble. She tears off her diamond necklace, scatters the gems across the floor. Guards trip, tumble. Just enough time to flee, but not far. One guard, pride wounded, charges, rage fueling his every step. She lifts a shield, holds her ground. His blow lands as it must and ends as it should. The rest swarm. A blade slashes her waist. She screams, a sound that freezes the crowd. But she doesn't fall. She grabs a guard, uses him as a shield, and leaps down to a lower level. A guard follows and lands hard. Leg shattered. The others hesitate, forced to take the stairs. The chubby guard stumbles past her, too dazed, too broken to see her. She watches him go, stunned. The princess stumbles forward. Unaware of the danger, she narrowly passes. Spotting a flag outside a window, she dives out, grabs it, and swings along the castle's vertical wall. Back and forth she builds momentum until she lands in a nearby room, breathless. Pain flares through her side, her waist wound bleeding badly. Memories flood in. She had overheard her parents once, arguing about her future. Her mother pleaded with the king to reconsider forcing a marriage, but he dismissed her, convinced Julius was what the kingdom needed. That day, the princess stepped out in training armor instead of a gown, shocking her father. He called her foolish, delusional. The throne needed a man. Marriage to Julius, he insisted, was protection. He trusted she'd see reason once her tantrum passed. She'd been near tears then, and now the sting of that memory sharpens her pain. Footsteps snap her out of it. She tackles the figure entering, only to find out it's Lynn. The two freeze, then exhale in relief. Lynn had climbed up to find her. As Lynn patches her wounds, she explains Julius attacked in the night. The king's guards were overwhelmed. Lynn barely escaped with a few allies. Guilt crashes over the princess, but Lynn cuts it off. The past won't save them now. Lynn knows where the royal family is held and how to get there. They slip through an unguarded kitchen route. Inside, they silently urge the cook to flee. But guards are cornering a female servant. Intentions clear and vile. Lynn and the princess have the element of surprise. A sudden clatter gives them away, but Lynn acts fast, dropping one guard with a frying pan. The princess helps the servant flee. Together, they fight, turning pots, water, even rags into weapons. The last guard lunges, but never lands. Mora's whip snaps around his ankle and slams him to the ground. Moira steps in, mocking the princess for defying expectations. Her whip strikes with deadly reach. She snares the princess's neck, choking the life from her. Lynn, fearless, battles through, freeing her friend. A wall of fire lets them escape. The princess races through sloping tunnels, bursting into a room where guards drink and gamble. She storms in, downs a cup from one's hand.
I needed that.
Enough!
And knocks him cold with it. In moments, all three fall. Her family appears. The king is proud. The queen stunned. Violet, her little sister, grins like she expected nothing less. But the escape is short-lived. A brutal blow knocks the princess out. When she wakes, her family is captured again. Lynn bloody, Mora triumphant. Julius taunts the princess, but she mocks him right back, promising to haunt him if he dares kill her. Julius turns to Violet. The king still hopes for mercy, but Julius has none. The princess and Lynn lock eyes. The unspoken plan clear. The princess charges, causing chaos. Lin grabs Violet, pulling her away. But the princess is overpowered, thrown through a castle window into the icy river below. As she drifts between life and death, Lin's voice echoes in her mind.
And always remember, princess, the real power is not from your blade, but from your heart.
Her purpose is clear: save her kingdom, save her family. Her purpose has never been clearer. Her family is in danger. That truth burns brighter than pain, brighter than fear. The princess awakens, desperate, gasping for air. She finds a sharp edge, slices through her bindings, and swims toward the surface. The wedding must be stopped. At the castle, Julius rushes the ceremony. The clergymen gather. Guards flood every hall, hunting the runaway bride. But she isn't done yet. Soaked and bleeding, she slips back into the tower, determined to finish this. A massive soldier steps into her path, grinning, imagining the worst. Before he can act, a statue crashes down on him. Violet stands behind it, wide-eyed, trembling, but fierce. Reunited with Lin and Violet, the princess can't hide her pride. But regret weighs on her. Maybe if she'd stayed the obedient royal daughter, none of this would have happened. But deep down she knows, it's not her choices that made Julius a monster. They retreat to a hidden storeroom, arming themselves with swords, breastplates, and courage. Violet begs to fight. The princess promises, one day, I'll train you properly. But not today. Today, you stay safe. Elsewhere, Julius presses a blade to the queen's face, demanding she call out Violet. The queen refuses, even with death inches away. The battle erupts. An arrow narrowly misses the princess. Lin yanks her into an alcove between stone pillars. They regroup, breathe, and charge back out, cutting through wave after wave of enemies, and draws twin blades meant for close combat. Julius watches. He sees a flicker of tension near Kai. A glance, a shift, enough to stir suspicion. He moves in. Kai, caught, presses a dagger into Violet's hand, silently urging her to run. Lin's training pays off. The princess and Lin strike at weak points, joints, gaps in armor, dropping enemy after enemy. But Julius closes in on Violet. He drags her from hiding, orders her to kneel, and demands the priests begin the wedding now. From across the hall, the princess and Lin see. No more time. They share one final look, then split. Lin bursts into the grand hall, sword flashing. She's a storm tearing through the ceremony, shattering Julius's plans. Kai leads the others to safety. Julius finally draws his blade, stepping into the fight to remind everyone he's the villain at the heart of this. But Moira doesn't want to brawl. She hunts the princess, demanding a one-on-one duel. Outside, their battle begins. Moira's whip cracks like thunder, slicing the air. She even knocks the princess's sword away, gaining the upper hand. But the princess adapts. She grabs the whip mid-strike, yanks hard, and turns the deadly cord against Moira, driving it into her neck. Moira falls, strangled by her own weapon. Inside, the king strikes at Julius, weak, desperate. But Julius easily beats him back. Lin steps forward, wounded but determined. She fights, but Julius's blade finds her side. Julius, sensing victory, lifts the king's crown, placing it on his own head. But the princess isn't finished. She charges in. Steel meets steel. Will meets ego. Julius boasts of ruling through fear, of the reign of terror he'll unleash. But she remembers Lin's words: patience, precision, not pride. And when Julius talks too much, that's his final mistake. She finds the opening. Her blade strikes clean, slicing through his neck. Julius falls. The hall falls silent. She lifts the crown and returns it to the king. No more waiting for son, he declares. The future is yours. Father and daughter, at last, see each other clearly. Kai appears, supporting wounded but living Lin. The princess rushes to her side, relief flooding through her. Victory is theirs. The kingdom is safe. And down the hall, finally catching up, the chubby guard arrives.
There she is!